Thinking behind developing a framework for simulation-based education really is to reflect its importance. We already have guidance in regards to other forms of technology-enhanced learning such as e-learning, and really now's the time to develop the framework for simulation-based education. The 5 guiding principles are quality outcomes, leadership and governance, resource allocation, faculty development and quality assurance. All of these have been aligned to the HEE quality framework. The framework itself will give the guiding principles to how we want simulation delivered and developed locally within the NHS.
So simulation is an educational technique that uses alternative guided experiences to replicate real-life situations. Simulation-based education can be used to develop skills, knowledge and attitudes in safe, educationally robust and an efficient manner. In addition, simulation has the potential to be more than just an educational tool. For example, it may be used in accreditation, recruitment, risk management and quality assurance. Of course, it is not a new innovation, and simulation is used in many other different walks of life as well. But it has become more popular and has grown in utility, and simulation has become a very important part of the patient safety agenda.
Simulation framework is aimed at anybody involved in simulation. It can be used by technicians delivering simulation on the shop floor to those commissioning simulation at either local or regional or national level. In addition, we envisage, as the simulation framework becomes embedded, that it gets utilised by far wider than just HEE staff. We expect that it'll be used by trusts, by HEIs, anybody at all involved in simulation, even possibly people involved in simulation outside the healthcare sector. So delivery of simulation-based education will primarily be the responsibility of our postgraduate deans. We've done this intentionally because it's really important that this is delivered at a local level. Trying to deliver this from a central, top-down approach would be guaranteed to fail. Part of the reason for this framework is to ensure that we're sharing the innovation that is out there. We've got some fantastic work going on, but we also have reinventing of the wheel, and we want to make sure that people are sharing their resources, sharing their ideas.
There are many different types of simulation experiences in health education, varying in both complexity and fidelity, which are not necessarily the same thing. There's the task trainer. This is often a very simple piece of equipment which is used to train a simple task or set of tasks without risk to the patient. A good example of that might be the knot tying jig used by surgical trainees. We then move on to mannequin-based simulation, and this is where dummies or parts of dummies are used to replicate complex patient scenarios. The dummies can be programmed to respond to treatments and also give real-time feedback. Thirdly, there's a standardized patient where a complex clinical scenario is created and acted out either by a trained actor or by a trained member of staff, or sometimes even by a trained real patient. We then have virtual and augmented reality. These are computer-generated environments that replicate complex real-life scenarios. We then have tissue-based simulation. This offers the learners the opportunity to practice on tissue without risking harm to any patient. Some hospitals have simulation suites or even separate simulation centres where learners can go and immerse themselves completely in a simulation environment. Other simulation can be carried out, as we say, in situ in the real world, for example on the ward. There is a variety of simulation techniques. Not all of them are applicable in every situation. The key thing to remember is that they should form part of a blended learning approach, and you should be able to choose the simulation that's appropriate to your learning outcome at the time.
So part of the work that the central team will be doing is producing a suite of films and other resources to demonstrate all the various types of simulation practice. So as part of developing this framework, we developed a simulation reference group, and that reference group had members from every walk of life linked to simulation, both within HEE but also outside HEE, in the wider NHS, in the higher education sector. We've been very lucky to have some of the country's experts on simulation feeding into this to ensure that we develop a framework that is usable and deliverable at local level. As part of our development process, we got very clear feedback that some key performance indicators would be really helpful so everybody is working to the same expectations in regards to developing simulation. This isn't in any way to produce a one-size-fits-all. The KPIs have been developed in very much a light touch way to ensure that we have a guide to develop simulation in an appropriate and effective way. It'll allow you to make sure that what you're delivering is aligned to what is recognized as best practice, and will also allow you through the networks to learn from others throughout the country and to share your practice as well as you learning from other people's practice.